Ford's 10-speed automatic transmission, known internally as the 1OR, arrived with big promises, improved fuel economy, faster acceleration, and smarter gear selection. Co-developed with General Motors, it now sits beneath millions of Ford vehicles, including the F-1 Mustang, Expedition, Ranger, Bronco, and several Lincoln models. But as mileage accumulates, an uncomfortable reality has emerged. A full 10-speed transmission replacement can cost $7,000 to $9,000, depending on labor rates and parts availability. What many owners, Dan, realize is that a large percentage of premature failures are not caused by catastrophic hardware defects. Instead, they stem from driving modes, software behavior, and owner-selected settings that place unnecessary stress on internal components. Transmission specialists and Ford drivetrain engineers agree on one thing. How the 10-speed is used matters just as much as how it was built. Certain factory settings can quietly accelerate clutch wear, valve body damage, and torque converter failure. Others, when used correctly, can dramatically extend service life. Below are modern Ford vehicles equipped with a 10-speed offer multiple drive modes, including normal, sport, tow haul, eco, slippery, and in some models, Baja. Most owners leave their vehicle in normal, assuming it provides the best balance of comfort and longevity. According to transmission calibration engineers, that assumption is only partially correct. In normal mode, the 10-speed is programmed to upshift aggressively to meet fuel economy targets. While this improves MPG, it also increases partial clutch engagement at low RPM over time. Repeated microslip generates heat and accelerates wear, particularly in the CDF drum assembly, a known weak point in early 1OR80 units. A former Ford powertrain calibration engineer explains that while the transmission is designed to adapt, constant short trips in normal mode prevent adaptive learning. Auto start-stop is one of the most controversial features Ford has introduced in recent years. Designed to reduce emissions, it shuts off the engine at stops and restarts it when the brake is released. What most owners don't realize is how much stress this places on the torque converter, hydraulic pump, and clutch engagement sequence inside the 10-speed. Every restart requires the transmission to rapidly rebuild hydraulic pressure. In early 108 software calibrations, this process was rushed, often resulting in harsh re-engagement, delayed movement, or shudder. Over thousands of cycles, the 108 relies heavily on adaptive learning to tailor shift timing and clutch pressure to individual driving habits. In theory, this makes shifts smoother over time. In practice, corrupted adaptive data is one of the most common causes of harsh shifting complaints. Aggressive driving, inconsistent throttle input, or towing without tow haul mode can confuse the system. When that happens, the transmission may overcompensate, leading to delayed shifts, hard downshifts, or shudder under light acceleration. Ford service bulletins acknowledge that corrupted adaptive data can produce symptoms that mimic mechanical failure. In many cases, transmissions replaced under warranty were later found to function normally after a proper adaptive reset and relearn procedure. If harsh shifting develops, request an adaptive learning reset using a dealership or professional scan tool. More importantly, follow the correct relearn procedure, which typically includes controlled acceleration, steady cruising, and gentle deceleration. Skipping the relearn process can make problems worse, not better. Many Ford vehicles allow manual gear selection through paddles or the shifter. While this adds driver engagement, improper use can unintentionally damage the transmission. The 10-speed was not designed for sustained high-load manual shifting at low RPM. Forcing upshifts or holding gears too long increases clutch slip time, especially under heavy throttle. This is particularly risky in high-torque applications like the Mustang. GT transmission engineers note that the 1OR80's clutch packs are optimized for automated control. Manual overrides bypass some of the protective logic that normally limits torque during shifts. Use manual modes sparingly. Avoid full throttle shifts at low speeds, and allow the transmission to manage gear selection during towing, hill climbing, or heavy acceleration. Manual mode is best reserved for controlled situations, not daily commuting. Ford does not prominently display transmission temperature on most dashboards, but the data is accessible through onboard menus or diagnostic apps. Ignoring transmission temperature is one of the fastest ways to shorten the 10-speed's lifespan. Excessive heat breaks down fluid, reduces lubrication, and damages seals. Many owners unknowingly operate their vehicles above 220 degrees Fahrenheit, especially when towing or driving in mountainous terrain. Fluid analysis from failed 10R80 units often shows signs of thermal degradation long before mechanical failure occurs. Once fluid viscosity breaks down, clutch slippage increases exponentially. Monitor transmission temperature during towing or aggressive driving. If temperatures rise consistently, switch to tow-haul mode, reduce speed, or take cooling breaks. Many specialists also recommend earlier fluid changes than Ford's official intervals, especially for work trucks or vehicles that tow regularly. One of the biggest misconceptions surrounding the Ford 10-speed is that failures are inevitable. While early production issues did exist, experts agree that software behavior and usage patterns now play a much larger role in long-term reliability. The transmission is highly capable but also highly sensitive. Improper settings can create a cascade of stress that slowly degrades internal components until failure appears sudden and catastrophic. A $9,000 repair often begins with something as small as aggressive downshifts, repeated heat spikes, or confused adaptive learning. The 410 speed is not fragile by design, but it demands informed ownership. The difference between a smooth, long-lasting transmission and a costly rebuild often comes down to 5 simple settings most drivers never think about. By choosing the correct drive mode, disabling auto start-stop, managing adaptive learning, using manual shifting responsibly, and monitoring transmission temperature, owners can dramatically reduce internal wear. Transmission specialists agree on one final point. Most 10R80 failures are preventable. Understanding and adjusting these factory settings requires no mechanical skill, yet it can save thousands of dollars and years of frustration. For Ford owners planning to keep their vehicles beyond the warranty period, these changes aren't optional. They're essential.